Hey. Hello, everyone. My name is Thunderhawk, and thank you for joining us for In Critical Times, a Native Perspective. I have here Madonna Thunderhawk, Pat Segoce, Waniya Locke, and Marcy Gilbert. We're going to have some really interesting topics to cover today. And again, this is In Critical Times, a Native Perspective. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the floor, and I would like everybody to go ahead and introduce themselves, and then we'll get started. I'll pass it over to Madonna. Go ahead and introduce themselves, and then we'll get started. I'll pass it over to Madonna.
Hello. Yeah, I'm Madonna Thunderhawk. I'm an elder here on my home reservation, the Cheyenne River Sioux Tribe in north central South Dakota. And thank you all for being here.
Okay. Thank you.
Did you hear me?
Yes. Yep. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Waniya Locke.
Dakiapi, Chante Washtena Pechuzapi, Waniya Machiapi, Iamoslata Hemataha, Wakbalakta Wati. My name is Waniya. I'm greeting you from Lakota Treaty Territory. I am really excited to be here as an Indigenous doula and giving my perspective on Roe versus Wade and the correlation between the correlation of women and Mother Earth, the Uchimaka, and how they're both being oppressed at the same time by the Supreme Court.
Thank you, Waniya. All right, Pat.
Segoce Wagwego, Patricia ni Quebecois, Tano Ikok Peshni Ichui, ni Lakota Yungyat. Hi, everybody. I'm Patricia St. Onge. I'm Haudenosaunee and Quebecois by birth, and I'm adopted Cheyenne River Lakota. Madonna and Mabel Ann are my sisters, and I'm really happy to be here. I'm also, I'm also sitting on Chochenyo Ohlone land, which is Oakland, California.
Wopila. I'll pass it over to Tuli Marcella.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for being here. My name is Marcella Gilbert. I was born on the Cheyenne River Sioux Tribe Reservation in South Dakota. I'm a lifelong member of the American Indian Movement, and I'm also a young grandmother of the Washagianaji Grandmothers Group, and I'm also a part of the Warrior Women Project. So let's get it on.
Awesome. Thank you everybody for introducing yourselves. And you know what? I noticed that I didn't even introduce myself besides my name. So my name is Decorah Hawk. I'm Lakota Ho-Chunk. I am here in Thunder Valley, South Dakota. And I am part of the Lakota People's Law Project. And I also work closely with the Washagia Najee Grandmothers Group. So, all right. So we have some interesting topics today. And Waniya mentioned one of them. Well, the correlation between Indigenous perspectives and Roe versus Wade. And so I kind of want to just open up the floor here and just go ahead and kind of get that conversation started. You know, why is it important, and what is the Indigenous perspective and aspect?
Go for it, Waniya.
So it all ties into like white supremacy and the correlation of control over people. And watching this go down for the last 40 years of my life has been really interesting, because white supremacy and patriarchy play a huge part in creating laws that oppress women. And so when we start to shed away all of this, like, you know, we saw this through the No Dapple movement, AIM movement, and through the Black Lives Matter movement, there's finally open discussion about what is white supremacy, what is white fragility, what is patriarchy, and how does it affect us. So when I looked at this last hoorah, what the Supreme Court has decided within the last week, I realized this is their last hold on. This is their desperation, because we're creating a whole new generation of awoke people that have awareness and they're truly educated. So they're hanging on to their very last clutch. And Roe versus Wade is reproductive rights, and reproductive rights is health rights. And when you watch third world countries that don't have quote unquote Western medical care, their women are much healthier than we are in the United States and in Canada. And the question is why? And it's because we have uninterrupted health interventions by Western medicine. And so, you know, healthy births equal healthy children, and healthy children equal healthy community members. And, you know, it's a ripple effect. So when I watched Roe versus Wade go down, and I was just like, yeah, this is their last hoorah to hold it in. And so I've been really encouraging everybody to hit the streets wherever you're at and oppose and show that solidarity. Especially our men. We need our men folk. This is your time to shine as allies, and comrades and accomplices within your motherhood. You know, celebrating your motherhood, celebrating your mother, your sisters. You don't need to have an important woman in your life to honor women. And so like hitting the streets and getting out there, like I was really excited to see what went down in Phoenix, Arizona, watching all of them go out there and protest at the Supreme Court and at the federal buildings. And those are the steps that we need so that they can hear us. But going back to health and reproduction, it's really scary for me as an Indigenous doula. One, we have to educate, right? So we need sex education within the school systems, but not only within our school systems, but within Indigenous communities also. Whenever sex is brought up, it brings all this trauma from the boarding school era that we endure, and it's really a heavy topic. And it's trying to normalize these conversations, and then watching it go down. So within Lakota territory, our school systems, half are BIE, half are BIA, and then the rest are tribal or state. Well, state really opposes sex education within our systems. So understanding what a reproductive system is, understanding protection and prevention from yourself and for other people, and understanding what consent is. And to know that these vital topics that have to do with the human body are being prevented at a school level is really astonishing to me. So that's just like one prong of it, is like the lack of education within our systems. The other thing is it really scares me as an Indigenous doula to know that a pregnant woman would have to carry a deceased baby all the way full term, and the health implications that is implied with that. And then also knowing that a woman who naturally miscarries can face criminalization and institutionalism from a natural occurrence of miscarriages. So there's criminalization, there's institutionalism, there's already a fear mongering. We already have historical trauma of them taking our babies from the boarding school eras, and so just like this, it's an ongoing thing. But the other aspect is like how the laws affect us, and Roe versus Wade overturn really scares me. Because when I look into the future, I want to have reproductive rights for my grandchildren, not only for females, but males too. And it's knowing that they can be criminalized for something that naturally happened is really devastating. The other aspect about it is that we need to consider. We already don't have this access to it. And that's what I just really want to share with everyone is Lakota, Dakota country. We already have very little care for abortion clinics within our own home territories. And then having access to it is very minimal, and only the few and the privileged get to access this type of care.
You know, one of the big
We can't hear you, Decora. Oh man, she's really got a lot to say too. Shoot.
I know. I really want to hear what she's saying.
I know. She's going to have to start over.
Oh.
Go ahead, elderlies. Put your 2 cents in, Mom and Pat.
Okay, let me talk. Watch the sound cut off now. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Well, you know, I don't have that much to say because dang, we fought these battles already. You know, how many years ago? You know, when I was young, we were on the picket lines, you know, fighting for these rights, and then look what happened, you know. But that just goes to show you, you know, that it's a cycle, you know. And when you have patriarchy, of course, women are always in the crosshairs. So all I've got to say to people is, you know, I don't have that much details and stuff to talk about, but it's just, you know, hunker down and get ready for the long struggle because, you know, we had our time and now it's your time, and your children, your grandchildren, your great granddaughters are going to be fighting the same battle as long as patriarchy is able to thrive in this country. Thank you.
Yeah, I completely concur. I think that the cycle of oh, I'm hearing myself.
We can hear you. Keep going.
Okay.
We can hear you.
So I think that the cycle of self-determination and oppression keeps reimagining, reinforcing itself. And yet with a little, so it's almost like a spiral. It gets a little bit better all the time, and then it falls again. And so we have to be relentless in our commitment to making sure that equity and justice, that we see each other as real people, as relatives, so that those who can't see that become marginalized more and more. And those of us who understand how profoundly interconnected we are with each other and with the whole, all of our relatives, can increase the visibility and the meaning of what our worldview is, so that more and more people recognize it and can become active. Because this is really, this level of oppression is unreasonable in this time. And those of us who have been in the struggle for a long time, can step into roles of support, and young people can step in and really move to the next level as the next generation.
So I want to add that I grew up. No one wants to hear that as your first line, Annette. But I grew up with the American Indian movement, and one of the things that I've learned is to understand what you're up against and who you're up against. And so this, this whole thing, of course, I was all freaked out when all the, Supreme Court is slashing, burning the Constitution and, all that. But it's a lesson. It's, it's teaching me again how this government functions and how they think. And the thing that comes to mind concerning Roe versus Wade is that this government does not consider anything to be sacred. There's nothing sacred to this government other than the dollar. And so I feel really I feel bad for the women of this government, the United States government, because they've been so oppressed that they've learned to support the oppressor in order to survive. And so this is having an effect on their next generation. And so it teaches me that this government, the white men that are in charge, and now we're finding out it's just not just white men, but there's no respect for women on any level. And the government is showing their own people, this whole nation, the United States, and globally, that women are not respected, and they hold no place of sacredness. And those of us that do believe that women are sacred, we're subject to this oppression, especially those of us who live in the United States. We're subject to their laws, and they're jamming that crap down our throats. And it's violating all of their own laws and violating us as Indigenous people in this country. And so for me, it's just another I'm learning, continuing to learn that how scared this government is. They're reacting and acting out of fear. And the first thing they do is take it out on women, which means they're taking it out on their own mothers, grandmothers, aunties, uncles, nieces, daughters. And it means nothing to them. It means nothing to them. So it's interesting to me that women are so removed from even having a place in this government. And it's been this way since I've been around and learning about the United States government. The level of oppression is baked in. So to me, it's just a learning. I'm continuing to learn about how effective oppression can be, because when we live in fear, this is what happens. But I also believe in the young people, and I believe, like Pat said, it doesn't make sense in this time because people are way more conscious and the information is out there. We can educate ourselves to be knowledgeable, intelligent, and make good decisions. And unfortunately, the United States is forcing its own people to have to stand up and fight their own government for equality. And that's always been a fight in the United States. That's always the fight. The United States doesn't understand what that means. The government doesn't understand. So that's what I've been taking away from this, is they're just showing their true colors. That the big lie is a big lie. This is not the land of the free and the home of the brave. It's not. Go ahead, Decorah. I think we can hear you now. Oh, we still can't hear you. We still can't hear you.
No. Can't hear you, Madonna, either. Can't hear you, Madonna, either.
Who set this up? What is this?
There you go.
Go ahead, Chuck, you talk. Tell Chuck to talk.
We can hear you now, Madonna.
Marcy. Oh no, really?
Okay, so I think we lost Waniya. She's not with us anymore. Decorah, we can't hear her, unfortunately. So I think it's up to us, ladies. Go on
The
to the next.
OGs and the YGs.
Everybody talk at once to see who can be heard.
So I'm going to talk a little bit about the Supreme Court decision that happened in Oklahoma. There's another situation that has a major effect in Indian country. And the other thing, like I said, the United States government, they're all about money. That's their God. That's their, that's where their sacredness lies, is in money. So all these slash and burn the Constitution and all that, it's all about money. Because remember, we live in the country that has the land of the free, that has the most prisons in the world. And so this decision is just another way for the United States to make money, especially off people who suffer in this society. You know, the ones who are hooked on drugs, not of their own choice, but they end up there. You know, people who end up in jail, especially in BIPOC communities. You know, it's a railroad. People of color end up in jail for no, you know, practically no reason sometimes, as compared to their white counterparts. And so this government is making a major step to make more money off of us, off of our jail time, off of our prison time, off of our suffering. And again, it's another example of how this government operates. It's not about the people. It's not about taking care of the people. It's about making money off the people at whatever expense. And so the, you know, the jurisdiction is gonna, it's huge, because it's a violation of treaty obligations that are supposedly the supreme law of the land, and that those are their words, not ours. Those are their words. They wrote those. We didn't write them. So it's an indication of how their laws don't even matter to them. And so what does that tell their people? That the laws of the United States hold no water. And so when do the people take action? When do the people, you know, be responsible for their own government? Anyone can take it now. I can't carry this load by myself. Go for it, ladies.
Well, I think it's worth, oh, go ahead, Madonna. Oh, I can't hear you. So I think given these decisions this week by the Supreme Court, the Oklahoma, the death row prayer, the church versus state on Christian school tuition, prayer, the guy praying in the football field, Roe versus Wade, immigration, vaccine requirements, gun restrictions reduced, so many of the things that the Supreme Court is looking at this moment really speak to a 19th century and 20th century worldview. We have to look at to me, it seems like we really have to look at what are the institutions that govern us. Look at the presidency, how it became a joke over the last 4 years. So every part of our governance as the United States, which even in that, really does not reflect the values of many of our communities, and particularly, I think, communities of color. And so I'm excited and encouraged to see all the people who are out on the streets already because of these decisions that the Supreme Court is making. And I think that every opportunity we have to have the conversation and to create plans for action move us on the shoulders of those who came before us, because this is not the first time that we're having any of these conversations. When you think about it, Roe v. Wade was just passed in 1973. That's not that long ago. I was having kids in 1973. So it just feels like this cycle needs attention in a way that moves us past a lot of where we've been stuck. And I'm looking forward to thinking together with people in my own community and around the world, around the country and around the world, to see what are the strategies that have worked. The movement for Black Lives is brilliantly moving the agenda for equity, for racial justice, and they have a platform that they've put out. So there's a lot of energy. Standing Rock still has some vibrancy. People are still thinking about it. So I would like us to build on those things as we look at all of the current things that are really impacting so many lives. So is anybody else's sound working? Oh, Decorah, we still can't hear. I can't hear you.
No, I can't either.
I guess it's on you, Marcy.
Oh my God.
So someone in the chat just wrote, there's a lot of really interesting stuff and it's hard to talk and look at the chat at the same time, but I just noticed somebody wrote, can we dig deeper? And I'm interested to think about that. I think we all do a lot of deep thinking. So maybe for me, what's important is to look at how these things are interconnected. Like, what is the mindset that allows a group of 9 people to have so much power that they can remove a woman's right? They can make decisions they can overturn policies. They can reduce gun restrictions that people work so hard to make happen. So I think that there's a structural question as well as a substance question. Like, what is the structure that meets the needs of 21st century communities and moves us beyond where we've been able to go before.
I think those structures are becoming irrelevant, obviously. They don't reflect the majority of this country, and that's been going on since Trump.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this government, the Congress and the president aren't using the tools that they have available to them to control the Supreme Court, because the Supreme Court isn't the final say. I mean, they can be challenged.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it's a lesson in how this government doesn't know how to, they don't know how to govern, they don't know how to do it. And the reason why they don't is because they don't have women involved where they need to have women involved. And I mean seriously, women that consider life, not pocketbooks or status or whatever. I mean, we have grandmothers within our communities, and they're taken seriously. And I think the United States government needs some organized grandmothers. I mean, you know, it's a young government too. So I understand that, yeah, they don't know what they're doing, but come on, you're gonna, you know, put everybody at risk because you don't know what to do. You don't know how to do it to take care of your own people in your own nation. It's obviously the United States government does not consider the boundaries of the United States their nation. You know what I mean? They don't consider their own people within their own boundaries.
Right. And even when we think about who's within those boundaries, even at a local level, here in Oakland, we were having a mayoral election, and one of the candidates talked about our children. The young people who live in Oakland are our children. And someone angrily yelled from the back of the room, "They are not my children." And I think as long as we continue to have that sense that we're not each other's relatives, then it's much easier to dismiss and diminish people and not hold ourselves accountable to supporting and recognizing the value of every human being and all of our other relatives, not even just human beings.
I think there was an interesting comment in the chat about the government being a corporation. And I agree with, I mean, that's exactly what's happening. Exactly. It's not, that's why the people are not, it's not about for the people, by the people, all that kind of crap. It's for the corporation, by the corporation.
Right. Yes, and when the Supreme Court decided that corporations are people, it accelerated that notion that corporations really do hold the center.
So let me ask this. Let me ask everybody this. Everybody out there in the virtual world, when do the people, where does the power lie for the people of the United States? Where does it lie to make your government accountable?
Da-da-da.
Madonna, do you want to weigh in?
I wish Waniya and Decorah could get back on.
Yeah. Well, I just saw Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
You can hear me. Well, I think, I don't know what to think right now because anyway, the connection and stuff isn't good, so
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. So the tech people are suggesting that we close out because the sound is so spotty and off and on. They're saying it's a good forum, but too many tech problems.
Yeah, I know where Decorah and Waniya are. There's a big storm over there, so that's probably why.
Yeah.
Well, let's reschedule. I say we reschedule.
Yeah, let's reschedule.
Yep. I'm good with that if that's
or whatever. Or wait for the next.
Okay. So we're hearing
Marcy,
yes.
Take us
yes,
out.
reschedule.
Take us out, Mars. Take us out, Mars.
Okay, all right. So because of weather, we lost our two younger ones, and I know they have a lot to say, and we need to hear them. So
Definitely.
we're going to reschedule, And hopefully we could do it on, when there's no weather anywhere. In South Dakota, man, weather really does affect internet. So we'll thank you everybody for your chat and participating, and we'll do it again. I think this is important enough for, we need to have this discussion.
Yeah.
So
thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good night. Good night.
Bye.